What is going on, guys? Um, oh man, I've not made a YouTube video like this in probably years. I've never even made a YouTube video with like a face cam or nothing like that. This is my first one. Before I would just upload clips and little things like that. Um, so this is my first time doing this. So, um, what better way to do it than making a tier list for the 2020-2021 CDL teams. Um, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Um, I'm interested to see your guys' comments. So make sure you guys let me know what you think about my opinion, and I want to hear your opinion. Um, for Paris Legion, I'm gonna just right away put unknown because obviously nobody knows the roster. But I think we've heard like rumors that it's Scraps, Fire, two other players. I'm not sure. I forget who they are already. Oh, Scraps, Fire, Classic, and one other player. I'm not sure if I know who it is off the top of my head. But anyways, we're just gonna put it there. I think that if it's the rumored roster that it's going to be, that I'll probably put it like a C or B tier. Just because any team with Scraps on it, you can't count out. Scraps is an absolute tank, and love that guy. But I just don't know. I just don't know how the team will mesh. But anyways, we're putting it there because the team's not actually confirmed yet, so we don't even know who it is. But that's the only one that we got to do that for. We know all the other 11 teams, so let's get right into this. You guys enjoy this, leave a like, and again, let me know what you think. Okay. All right. We're gonna start with the Ultra, and as you can see in the background, I like the Ultra a lot. But I'm gonna try and make this list as non-biased, okay? Because I'm also one of the biggest huntsmen. Where we at? Okay, so Huntsman, Optic Chicago. You guys know, I bought it back. We're gonna make it unbiased as best as I can. Okay, this is straight how I feel, how I think they'll play, type deal. All right, we're starting with the Ultra. For the Ultra, I think they'll be a A or B tier team. I'm gonna put them in B tier to start. Oh, for every team, I'm gonna list the rosters too. So this is Cammy, Vance, Methods, and Kleenex with Insight from Singularity as their sub. I think this is a really, really good team. They played well towards the end of the year last year when Kleenex took over on the main roster. I think this team meshes well. They got a good mix of pacing and methods. You know what you're gonna get from methods. Great AR, Kleenex fast pace SMG. Cammy, Cammy's really, really hit or miss. If he's really on, he's frying. But he can have those bad, cool games. And I think the same with Vance. But I think this team, for the most part, is going to be consistent. I think they're going to be a middle of the pack, kind of leaning towards the top. I would almost put them in A tier, and if it gets to the end of it, I might switch it. I don't know how I feel about it yet. But for now, we're going to put them in B tier. The Surge. Oh, man. Okay. This is tough. Yeah, I don't know. This is hard, okay? Because now the Surge, they were horrible last year, absolutely god awful. But their roster this year, Octane, Looney, Gunless, Christini. I think they have the chance to make some real damage happen. I really do. I think they have the chance to make some real damage happen. I love how Pristini plays. He's one of my favorite players. Selfless, fast-paced. He'll be always the first one sliding hill. But he said this year that he's kind of switching roles with Looney. I haven't really watched how their scrims have gone, so I really don't know how they're playing currently. But for sake of the matter, I'm going to put them where I think they'll probably be, and that's middle of the pack. Put them right there with Toronto. B tier. Can this team be an A tier to S tier team? Absolutely. I think Octane's one of the best ARs in the league. Gunless, I think, is an absolutely incredible talent. But do I see them consistently being that that top team, I don't know. You know how you get out of Pristini. He has those hot and cool games, so it's really I think this team is a real hit or miss. If they're on, they're on. If they're not, I don't know. I'm saving Optic for last, so we're moving to New York. Oh man, see this is also hard because this team is nasty. Okay, but it is hard to give them a justifiable rank when their fourth, who's supposed to be their fourth starter, is from France and they've scrimmed twice with him. But from what I've heard and from the gameplay that I've seen, he's absolutely incredible. For those of you that don't know, this is Placer, Zuma, Mac, and Hydra. Hydra's a French prodigy from the amateur. He was just voted best challengers player from last year overall. Um, I think this team could be a top three team. I really do. You know what you're getting out of Clay. Um, Zuma's really, really good sub, and you saw how well Mac played last year when they picked him up. He really turned that New York team around. Oh man. For sake of me not seeing Hydra play, I'm gonna start them in the B tier, and I already have three teams in the B tier, which is crazy. But I honestly think that I'm going to, you know what? No, I'm putting them in the A tier. I am. I think this team's gonna be a top four team consistently all year. If they place outside of the top four, I think it'll be a fluke, and they just all have a bad weekend. I don't see this team getting outside of the top four. I really don't. Um, that might be a hot take. I don't know. I just really like Clay, and I think this team could be really, really gross. I think they'll mesh well. Rocker. What is the Rocker team? Oh, that's Priesta, Attach, Accuracy, and Major Maniac. Oh man. I'm going to put them in B tier. I don't want to put them any lower than that. They have four really, really talented players on their team. All four of them are individually very, very talented. The only reason I don't want to move them up is because I don't know how they're gonna mesh. I really don't. Major Maniac played main AR last year. Accuracy played main AR last year. Priesta plays a sub, so that'll be good. And Attach usually plays subs, so they got two ARs, two subs. I just don't. You know what? I don't know, because I know Major Maniac played Flex in BO4 and he was great on Gen G. So I think this team could also do damage. I think they're like the Surge. I think they are gonna be real hit or miss because you know Priest is one of those hit or miss guys too. He's just like Pristini. Um, Fast playing, real fast pace, always gonna slide first. And you know if you're one of those players, which you know it really really helps the team if you're one of those players, but sometimes it's just really hard to find the perfect pacing. You get picked a lot of the times, so you get put in the blender per se. And if he's playing like that, I think this team can struggle. But I'm gonna put them middle of the pack. I think overall they're pretty fairly consistent, and I can't put them any lower. Well. The LA Thieves. I'm just gonna get to the. I'm gonna literally go straight to the case here. Okay. Say what you want. All right, you can say what you want, but I love this team. Okay, this roster is going to do damage, and I'm telling you, damage. Okay, you know what you're getting out of Slasher. Like I said, just like Octane, one of the best ARs in the league, top three in my opinion. Okay, you got Kenny, absolute force. You got Temp, who's going to be on the same pacing with Kenny, absolute force, and you got TJ, just like Christini and Priest aside first. Now you know what you're getting out of TJ. You know he's somewhat inconsistent, but from what I've seen in this game so far, he has been frying. Like I mean frying. And if he keeps up that same gameplay, oh man, this team is dangerous. I think this team is just gonna be like 100 Thieves and Black Ops 4. Now they do lose Octane, but I think with the veteranship of Slasher and the absolute slaying power between Temp and Kenny, I think this team is gonna be nice. I really do. For the sake of me being an Optic fan, I I hope they're not too good, but I think they're gonna be a really really good team. Now I could be wrong, right? But this is my opinion. So like I said, I want to hear what you guys think. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I'm gonna I'm gonna rearrange them at the end so that they're actually in order. So like it'll go 1 through 12 in order, and you'll see what I mean. I'll show you at the end, but I'm not just gonna like put them in the columns. I'm gonna actually put them like numerically, like 1 through 12 as well. You'll see. LA Gorillas. We know what we got from them last year. They were absolutely horrible, but completely, well, not completely, almost completely revamped their roster. They kept Vivid. They picked up Apathy, Assault, and Silly. I think this team is a lot better than teams are giving them credit for, and people are giving them credit for, and I'm going to tell you why. I think it's because Vivid is one of the most underrated player in the Call of Duty League. And a lot of people are going to say, well, you're kind of dumb. Why would you say that? He's literally horrible. Nope. I think Vivid is I think he's the most underrated player in the CDL right now, and I will stand by that. I think that because he's been on teams that have kind of like not shined through the light, that he really hasn't gotten the appreciation that he deserves. But this guy is an absolute tank. Okay, he's a tank. He's an S&D guru. Okay, if you get a negative game from him in an S&D, it is an absolute fluke. This guy's usually putting up 2.0s in S&D. Okay, his respawn for the most part isn't really the greatest, but it's not too bad to the point where you're like, what's this guy doing, right? So it's consistent for the most part. You're getting close to a 1.0, maybe like a 0.95. You know what I'm saying? Okay, he's doing his job. But this guy, when this guy is slaying, this guy is slaying. This guy is. I love this guy. I can't talk about him enough. I'm also gonna put them in the B tier. Okay, and I think a lot of people are gonna consider them a bottom two team. I disagree completely. Apathy, Assault, and Silly are all world champions. They won together in World War II. Apathy's got 2 rings, so this is a team of champions. And although not many people saw Evil Geniuses winning that championship in 2018, it happened, and they won, and it wasn't really even close. DK reset the bracket, but that second set of best of 5 was a 3-0, and none of the games were really close. Um, so when these three are meshing together, they are meshing together perfectly. And I think when you bring that kind of veteranship to the table with the kind of outweighing young gun ability that Vivid has, it can do some serious damage. Okay, so I'm putting them in the B tier, and that's just my hot take. I think a lot of people are gonna think differently, but that's how I'm feeling. Royal Ravens. I think this team is literally horrible. I'm not kidding either. Last year these guys were a top 5, top 6 team consistently all year. Okay, they finished 4th at champs. They lost to the Huntsmen in their home series final. No, and Seattle's home series final, I think. Um, so they got a top 2 finish, and they finished 4th, but they got rid of their best 2 players, without a doubt. And Dylan's an absolute beast, and I really love Dylan as a player. But Scraps and Wuskins were without a doubt their top 2 players, and they got rid of them both. So they lost an insane amount of firepower on this team. They kept Shawnee, which I thought was a little bit questionable. Yeah, he played okay towards the end of the year, but I don't think you keep Shawnee over Wuskins any day of the year. But they see something different, so they have trust in their man Shawnee. I think if you take that guy away from construction on Ramaza, he really doesn't do anything for you on the map. But I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong, okay? They picked up Alex, which I think is a really good pickup. I think Alex is really a really solid player. He brings a nice slaying power to you in respawn. I don't know really much about what he does in S&D. He's kind of like a middle of the pack player in S&D, I'd say. But he brings a good slaying power to his team, and it might help Dylan. Since he kind of struggled last year with people keeping up with his pace, I think Alex might be that person to kind of balance the playing field, balance the pace for that team. So I think if there's any good thing that this team has done in the offseason, it's pick this guy up. He's an absolute tank. Oh, and for you guys that you don't know, it's Shawnee, Zero, Dylan, and the 4th. Zero, Dylan. Oh, and Alex. I just said it. Duh. Yeah. So, do I see this team being a consistent top 6 team throughout the year? Absolutely not. I just don't. European teams usually struggle against North American teams, and I'm not being like culturally insensitive. That's just usually how it is. Um, and this team is all about it's all European players, and I just don't think that they'll have the firepower that some of these other teams will. That's just my opinion. Florida Mutineers. Another hot take. Ready for this? Okay, S tier. Um, these guys I think are gross. Every single one of them. Um, the roster is Skies, Havoc, Awakening, and Slacked. R.I.P. Pharaoh. It would have been Pharaoh over Slacked, but may he rest in peace. These guys look absolutely gross in scrims. Absolutely gross in scrims. Okay. Um, you know what you're gonna get out of Skies. One of the best ARs in the league. Definitely a top 5 AR in the league. One of the MVP candidates last year. Okay, he was gross in Modern Warfare. Um, Awakening, an absolute young gun of a talent. Got picked up by Florida last year and easily turned their year around. Easily won back-to-back home series for them. Okay, the guy's absolutely gross. You picked up slack over with the passing of Pharaoh, and although he's not the most, I wouldn't say he's the most skillful player in the CDL. He's a veteran, and he's been on teams that have won championships. I saw a stat the other day that the only game that he hasn't won a championship in the last 5 years was this past game, Modern Warfare, which is absolutely insane. This guy wins championships. He played on Rise in BO3, LG, all the way from IW to BO4, and then signed with Seattle last year. And Seattle was the only time that he didn't win. That team was in shambles from the beginning, so you can't really blame him for that. But I think that guy is a competitor, and I don't know if he's, like I said, the most skillful player, but I definitely think he's a competitor for sure. And I really, really like this team. I think this team's going to play well together. I think they're going to be a top 2 team. I do, and that might be a hot take, but I think they'll be a top 2 team consistently throughout the year. Next, we got Dallas Empire. They're going in the trash. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's jokes. S tier again, and I want to vomit for saying that, but I'd be an idiot not to put them in S tier. They're your recent CDL champs. Same roster from last year. They just had to get rid of Clay. You know what? No. 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 Mm-mm. I'm moving to A. And the reason is because of what I just said. I think they kept the wrong player. I think they kept the wrong player. If I was Dallas the offseason, I'm not keeping Prim over Clay. I think Clay brings a lot more to a team than Krim does, in my opinion. But then again, at the same time, I'm being a little biased because I'm not the biggest Krim fan. And he's also won like 37 home series, and like 34 of them have been on land. So he's one of the most dominating guys on land. One of the most dominating player in the CDL currently. So you can't really hate on the guy. He's won 3 championships. But I think they made the wrong call. I really do. Also, I don't think the only reason I don't have them in S tier, okay, and I think that they are an incredible team. Do not get me wrong. They will obviously be a top team. The only reason I don't have them in S tier is because I don't think this game fits their playstyle. I think last year the Modern Warfare fit their playstyle perfectly, and I'll explain what I mean. Last year it was 3 subs on every map, 4 on some maps like Hackney, sometimes Gunrunner, okay? Like and they had the firepower to play with that meta, okay? Like Krim, who's been an AR almost his whole entire career, was using a sub on some maps last year, okay? That's saying something. But now you have a game where the meta is almost completely reversed. You've got 2 and 2 split with 2 subs, 2 ARs, and then you got maps sometimes like Moscow, sometimes even Checkmate, where you're using 3 ARs. So now I don't know how well this game will will mesh with their type of play style. I've noticed in scrims that Illy has been using the second AR, and they're still playing really, really well. But last year, I think the reason that Shotzi broke out towards the almost halfway through the year was because they made a switch in their gameplay that made Shotzi the SMG Slayer instead of Illy and Hook, and I think it really obviously it really really worked well for them. But I think now they're gonna try to keep the same type of playstyle, and you can't have Illy siding for you first with an AR. The only way I see this team keeping the same dominance that they had last year in Modern Warfare is if Hook takes over the role that Illy played last year and is that selfless player. Because we saw what happened when Shotzi plays as the selfish player and slides first. He dropped like 7 kills in a Dom against Chicago, went like 7-36 or something like that. So I don't think he can play that role well. That man is a slayer. He is a killer. And the only way I see this dominating the way that they do is if Hook takes that role and he plays it as well as Illy did last year. Okay, I think Illy is another underrated player in the CDL. Everybody's giving attention to Shotzi. Nah, Illy, he is gross. That kid is gross. He's playing the slide in first rule. He's playing the fastest SMG on the team role, and that man's putting up consistent numbers. The kid needs more credit, 100%. He is playing the hardest role on the team, and he's putting up the consistent numbers that he did last year. He does not get enough credit. He's my favorite player on that team. He is. But yeah, so that's how I feel about Empire. Oh boy, FaZe. I'm gonna get some hate for this. I really am. I'm putting him A tier. Yeah, I am. I'm putting him in A tier. I think that this team is fantastic on paper. Okay, I think this team is absolutely phenomenal on paper. You've got Arcides, you've got Sampa Beezy, the Tiny Terrors, and you've got Celium. I think this team on paper makes a lot of sense. Every role is filled, and this team would dominate if you're looking at a sheet. Say, I don't think anybody's coming close to them. But hear me out for just a minute here, okay? Last year, sort of kind of the issue that FaZe had is they lacked so much composure. Okay? They lacked so much composure. They did not have a single veteran on that team. Okay? And it's almost like it's the same exact thing this year. Now, I know they picked up Arcides, and he's going to be probably the main in-game leader, the main call-out guy. I got you. Okay? And I think that'll add some composure. But at the same time, Arcides isn't like a 5-6 year veteran. He's been in the league for 4 years. And this will be their third, like this will be the younger guy's third year. Like I just don't think they add that much veteranship to their team. Do they add an absolute slayer in Arcides? Yeah, they do. But do I see this team absolutely taking names, absolutely dominating everybody in the CDL like I thought I would the first day I saw them on paper? I don't. I really don't. Now, I could be wrong, right? Obviously, because we don't know what's going to happen. Anything can happen at any given moment. That's just my opinion. Like I said, I think this team is gross, but I just think that I don't know. I think they'll be top 4, 100%. Consistently all year, I think they'll be top 4. But do I see that team being as dominant as everybody thinks? No, I really don't. Okay. Optic Chicago. AKA the new Huntsman. AKA Hector's Optic. AKA my favorite team. I have to put them in the A tier. I really do. And it hurts me a lot to put them in the A tier rather than the S tier. But if I put them in the S tier, I think that I would just be considered biased, and I don't want to do that. Um, this team is gross, right? You know what you're like. This team is gross. You've got Scump, Formal, Dashy, Envoy. In my opinion, Envoy's the most talented player in the league right now. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that, and I'm gonna get some biased comments for that. But that's just my opinion. Okay, that guy is an absolute freak. My MVP, no matter what. I think he's the most talented player in the league right now. I think what he does on the map for a team is one of the most underrated things that go unnoticed. He is creating so much pressure on the map at all times, and I think he's just one of those players that I love. I look up to. I watch all the time for learning and stuff. He's a noisemaker for sure. I think these guys made a absolutely incredible pickup last year when they got him. Um, okay, now I'm gonna give you my justification as to why I have them in A tier. Is because Dashy is absolutely a phenomenal player. I love the guy. He slays, but I don't see him making them an overall team to push them to that S tier column. I see him maybe bringing them some consistency in their slaying. Um, and that's pretty much it. The guy is an absolute freak, and I think when he moves to the U.S. and he moves to Texas with Formal as well, I think these teams are gonna start. This team's gonna start frying really, 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 really well, and I think they'll mesh really well together. Um, I just don't know. Right now, there's like the flex rule is kind of weird. He's their flex player. There's not really a flex gun that really, really stands out where he could fry. I think if the latest patch that just happened today with the FFAR goes the way that I think it might, then I think he'll be able to use that and really, really do well with it. I think he'll start frying even more. But right now, I can't see them being more than A tier. I think they'll be a top 14. I do. I think they'll be a top 14 the whole entire year. Um, um, that's hard for me to say because I've said that 6 teams could be a top 4 team, but we don't know how the layout for the CDL is gonna work. And not every team, if it's like last year, not every team will play at every single event. So I could say that 6 teams can be top 4 teams because it makes sense in a weird way. If the layout for matches are completely different, then we'll have to rethink this. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and make this into a final list real quick. Um, and then we'll go over it. So okay, okay, this is what I think I'll do. As you see, I moved Dallas to S tier. No, I don't know, man. I think Florida has the best team on paper. I do. I think they have the best team. I really do. I really like their roster. Um, I really, really like the Thieves' roster as well. And it's hard for man, if I put the Thieves in S tier, I also think I could put Optic in S tier. But then at that point I'd have to put FaZe in S tier too. So, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Alright. I'm gonna put the Thieves down to A tier. and put them right with Optic and Phase. And then that's going to close out my ranking. So in order, I have Florida, Dallas, Optic, LA Thieves, Phase, New York, Toronto, Seattle, Los Angeles Guerrillas, the Rocker, the Royal Ravens, and right now the Legion, only because we don't know the roster. Chances are I change that because I think if it's the team with Scrap, which is probably going to be, um, they'll be better than the Ravens. Because Scrap's going to be playing with a vengeance, and when he's playing with a vengeance, he is a nasty player. Um, this is my list. This is my list. This is what I'm going with. Yeah, that's what I got. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think um, in the comments. Obviously, this is really, really hard for me to make a list now. I think halfway through the year, I'll make a different one and compare it to the one I made now. But I wanted to make this before it started just to see how close my predictions are and how good the teams are based off of what I think they will be. But overall, I think this is a really, really respectable list. I think I don't like where Phase and Thieves and Optic are, but it is so hard. It is so hard. Unless I made like another. Oh man. Okay, hold on. Oh wait. One sec. Can I. Wait, what did I do? Pause. Okay. Alright. We're changing this one last time, I promise. Okay? I promise. This is almost S tier. Okay? This is almost S tier. Because I cannot. I can't. I can't. I have to do this. Okay? And we're going to put Optic, Thieves, Base, and then we're going to move the Ultra up to A tier. This is it. This is my final thing. I promise I'm not changing anymore. Okay? This is my list. Yes. I think this is a good list. Okay, I'm done. I hope you guys enjoyed. Um, I think that this year is going to have a crazy amount of competition. Um, and I'm excited to watch some games. I know you guys are too. So again, let me think with you. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Leave a like, comment, all that jazz. And if you want me to make more videos, let me know because this was kind of fun actually. So, all right, I'll catch you guys on the flip.